first, a really positive review. The kids said it was their, quote, favorite movie ever. I think it was much better than Toy Story 4 and had a great message. I really enjoyed watching this movie with my children, and it was a bit emotional remembering watching the first one with my mother, now enjoying the fifth one with my children. Great movie and love the message. Here's a low one. It said, I think it's a stretch to make Toy Story 5. Even a little 5-year-old yelled. This was funny. Even a little 5-year-old yelled out, when is it over? It's boring. Not even remotely as good as the others. All right, another person, blah. Too many characters, the weirdness of an anti-tech message in a film that these kids will all eventually watch on their tablets. Blah. Okay, and then another negative one. I grew up with the Toy Story franchise, and I found this really interesting. I grew up with the Toy Story franchise. The first one was such a huge part of my childhood. The second one was good, not great. The third one was perfection. It wrapped up the story perfectly. Should have stopped there. Number 4 was watchable, but unnecessary. Toy Story 5 is neither watchable nor necessary. Very few laughs. Don't waste your money, even if you are a diehard Toy Story fan.
Not watchable.
So,
such a strong critique.
Yeah. So those don't reflect my thoughts at all. Those are just reviews from Rotten Tomatoes. So not necessarily after hearing those, because you know that I picked out, ones that I thought would be interesting. But what would you guess that it was? Critics and audience.
Well, again, Rotten Tomatoes is, whether it's fresh or not, it's like such an interesting rating system. I would like to talk about other rating systems at some point. Yeah. I'm not super familiar with other ones, but I do like Rotten Tomatoes.
You can't, if you look into Rotten Tomatoes and click in, you can see each critic's actual scoring of the movie.
I would like to, that would be fun to kind of get into. But I would think it's hard for me to, obviously that last review, that's like someone who's like thinks it's rotten, but I just feel like that feels like it would be rare unless you come with a predetermined notion about what Toy Story is supposed to be. It's just like, I don't know, to me it was very obviously fresh. I bet it's definitely within the 90s. 95, I would expect the critics would be a little bit higher than the audience, like 97, 93. 97 critics, 93 audience.
All right. So it was actually opposite. It was 93 critics and 95 audience. What was your initial reaction? I mean, you've already talked about how your experience was a little bit, you had to leave for the bathroom with kids type of thing. But
my daughter had to go pee like twice, maybe 3 times.
Okay,
so
yeah. But in general, you still saw the vast majority of the movie. So what were kind of initial impressions that you had? Hey guys, if you could take a second and subscribe, that'd be really helpful for us, and we can keep bringing you these reviews. Thanks so much.
It did feel like the pacing was like really quick, which I'm usually fine with, but it was like it reminded me of how I felt about Zootopia 2, which obviously is an extremely popular movie that I didn't like as much as Zootopia 1.
Yeah. I liked the second one a lot.
Did you like it more or less than the first?
The first one sits closer to a perfect movie. Like, it's very well thought out, beginning, middle, and end. Everything sets up and closes perfectly. And doing a first movie is easier than a sequel, I think, as far as making it a complete film. So I just have more grace with Zootopia 2, but I do think the first one's better. Yeah.
I would like to see Zootopia 2 again. It did feel like it just felt frantic, like, and the pacing was like really quick and it like didn't let up, which can be really fun in a movie. But for me, my experience was, it's like, like if you watch like a stand-up comedian and it's like, oh, all the jokes are great, but your timing's just a little bit off. You need like a little bit more pause. And that's how I felt a little bit for this movie. Like, it just felt like, it's like, oh, the pacing feels a little off, and like the emotional moments would hit better if, I don't know. That's just...
Well, I will say that I felt, it didn't feel necessarily negative to me, but at the beginning I had the very clear thought, this is really moving along fast. Yeah. Like, a lot happened in the first 15 minutes. It was like they had the idea of the rest of the film, which in my opinion was phenomenal, but to get there, it was like, we need to get there, and like, this movie can't be long. It's a kid's movie, but it to me, it feels like everything would have hit a little bit harder if the movie had even just 10 more minutes that was all breathing room in the first 15 minutes to set that stuff up. for me. But I get it for kids.
I'd rather be fast-paced than slow-paced, if anything.
Because you like shorter movies.
I do like shorter movies.
Or like, I feel like you like movies to be shorter.
Yes,
than I do.
Yes.
If I go to the theater, I want as many hours as I can. Like, I feel like my money is directly going to minutes in the theater.
Yeah. Yeah, but no, generally, I thought it was great. It was my least favorite. You said this yesterday to me. It was my least favorite of the Toy Stories, which is not saying much. All of them are incredible. This one was incredible, I thought. I want to see it again for sure. And it's like adding to a great, like one of the, we talk about like some of the greatest like trilogies or franchises or whatever, where you're like, like The Matrix is amazing, but the last one I rarely see because it's like, it's significantly worse. But Toy Story is still to the point where I'm like, I'd watch 1 through 5 and I'd be happy the whole time. I won't do that for Rocky. I'll watch 1 through 4 of Rocky, and then all of the other ones. It's like Rocky Balboa. It's just bad.
You're saying there's 1 through 5, and then there's Rocky Balboa, I believe, and then there's Creed 1, 2,
5 sucks. Rocky Balboa is bad.
Yeah, it's fine.
I don't consider Creed a part of the Rockies.
He's just in them.
Yeah.
Not all of them.
My point is that Toy Story 1 through 5, they're all incredible. I will watch them all. If I'm like, let's go through the Toy Stories, I'll be so happy watching every single one. And I'm like glad that they haven't botched one, in my opinion. But they are slowly like, it's like, perfection.
Couple issues.
A little bit of issues, still really good. And then 5 is really close to 4. It's like, it's not, I wouldn't even say 5. I can't think of a lot of issues with it. It's just not hitting as like, I don't know. It's just not as good as some of the greatest animated movies ever.
Yeah. Yeah. It's hard when you're comparing it, especially I feel like more than any other franchise that goes beyond like a limited trilogy, like Lord of the Rings or something like that. Any other franchise where you're like, you know what? Let's make another one. You know what? Let's make another one. Yeah. Toy Story probably has done it the best as far as like you didn't really lower the quality that much. And part of that's like you're working with some of just the greatest characters. But you're also like you got John Lasseter and the team that's kind of working behind all the genius on all the films.
Is there anything like Toy Story where they're just like, it's not based on source material, it's not like a book adaptation, and they're just like, let's make another one? I'm thinking of like, there's like Fast and Furious, and then there's obviously like the James Bond movies, or Alien.
Sure.
Alien, I feel like is a good example, where it's just like, okay, we've got a good like world.
But they're not the same character. I mean, 1, 2, and 3
they're
are,
not the same characters.
But the other ones aren't the same character. I feel like Rocky is the best.
Yeah, Rocky is.
Comparison. And 5 really fell off.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of people hate 4 too. And
really?
Yeah.
Yeah, it is a little bit like.
I love 4.
I love 4 too. But it is kind of goofy.
Yeah. So I think one thing that was really interesting in thinking about all 5 movies was that this movie was Jessie-centric. Like she was the protagonist of the film. A lot of the characters who have been protagonists in the past movies took background roles, supporting roles, some of them much smaller roles. And I'm curious what you first, I guess, and I have thoughts about that, but I'm curious what you thought of kind of Jessie being the protagonist in this and how that worked in the context of like, did that make it still feel like a Toy Story movie because Woody
definitely.
and Buzz weren't kind of central or?
100%. Yeah.
Okay.
Because Jessie's, 100%. I don't know. I obviously Woody and Buzz are the main protagonists of the series or the franchise, but I think Jessie worked great. My daughter, I have a daughter, so we're going into it. She's like, Jessie's my favorite character. So then Jessie being the main character was like, oh, awesome.
Yeah.
So that's awesome. I don't know. Jessie's been there since Toy Story 2, and she was one of the protagonists-ish in that movie. She wasn't like the top billing or whatever, but it just made sense. Joan Cusack is fantastic.
Yep.
And it's so crazy. They're like so old, and their I didn't notice any difference in their voices or anything.
Yeah.
I was kind of looking for was wondering if...
Yeah. I read that Tim Allen had to do some, I don't know if this is true, but that he had to do some sort of like vocal training or something like that with someone to help him like
sound younger.
Yeah. Which I thought was really interesting. But I was fascinated thinking back because I read at least one or two reviews that mentioned Jessie being the protagonist. And I really liked her as the protagonist. I agree with you. Joan Cusack is great. The character's great. We have enough history with her as well. It's her fourth film. It didn't feel out of place. And to be honest, I didn't really think about it until I read reviews afterwards. So that's all great. But it made me think about, well, okay, so who's the main character in the other movies? So I went, Toy Story 1, it's Woody, but Buzz is a huge part of it. It's like a buddy film in some ways, but it's still about Woody primarily.
Yeah, Buzz is almost like an antagonist turned buddy.
Yeah.
Yeah, and turned protagonist.
Yeah. And then Toy Story 2, definitely about Woody.
Yep.
Definitely about Woody, and then they're trying to save Woody. Toy Story 4, I'm going to skip 3 because I have a thought about it. Toy Story 4, definitely about Woody again. So we've got like the same protagonists as Woody, even though I would say the first one like leans pretty heavily into Buzz. And 2 and 4 are super Woody centric. It's like his story. And then 4 is definitely Jessie's story. So I don't think we have a movie.
You mean 5?
I'm sorry, 5 is definitely Jessie's story. So we interestingly don't have a movie that's just primarily about Buzz besides Lightyear, which you could call that part of the Toy Story franchise, even though it's not
which
exactly.
I never saw.
Okay. But what's interesting to me about 3 is I think it's my favorite. It's a lot of people's favorite is the third one. And I think it's really cool because all of the toys are like really featured.
Yeah.
And they really feel like a family.
Yeah.
It's like saving each other. They're all in danger for different ways. And this one where most of those characters spend time in a box in the garage, which is totally fine. I was fine with it. I wasn't mad about it. It just made me still be like, man, 3's the best. It really utilizes every character so well. Like Buzz, it does the whole thing with his Spanish mode where he forgets who he is and he's doing all the dancing. And
well, so many of the side characters are played by huge actors.
Right.
And they have great personalities. I mean, like Mr. Potato Head, Rex, Slink.
Yeah.
Who else is a big actor that's a side character? Pig.
Yep.
Who's that
Ham.
voiced by?
I forget, but
yeah, they're all big actors, and
or they at least are big voice actors who voice a lot of other Pixar characters too.
Yeah, and they have their characters are so fun, like the unique aspects. So it is a little bit. I wouldn't have critiqued this movie based on like, oh, I wanted to see like they did anything wrong, but I totally agree. Yeah, it's fun when they use all of them. Yeah.
Yeah, every time I see a Toy Story movie, it makes me appreciate 3 a lot because I just think it's such a phenomenal movie. Like to me, Toy Story 1 is like one of the great films ever because of a lot of its background and all that kind of stuff. When I look at Toy Story 3, I think like one of the greatest animated movies ever made for a lot of reasons, but really I just think the movie itself is like, you don't even need to look at background stuff. The movie itself is so funny. It's such a complex message, as we've talked about before, about Woody's journey of what it means to be Andy's and to trust him, and then to be eventually like justified in having trusted him, and he passes them on to Bonnie.
Yeah, the stakes were so high.
Yeah.
It was believable. The villain was so great. Ken and Barbie, that's just hilarious. Yeah, so funny.
You know what I felt was really natural about Jessie taking the front seat in this film is that Andy gave the toys to Bonnie, and then in the last one Woody kind of left. It was his own story. That I'm not a big fan of 4. It's funny to me and got lots of good moments, but I don't like the general feeling of what the message could be taken as, whatever, when I saw it. But the movie's fun for sure, and I like the new characters and whatever. But it was cool now that like Bonnie's the owner, because Bonnie's not really much in the 4th one. And that's one of my big problems with it, is it's not about the toy child relationship as much. It's more about the toys separating from the child, which I don't like the feeling of that. This got back to like, these toys are so like, they're so devoted to Bonnie and like her well-being, and they want to be there for her, but they also like want to feel loved by her too. And it's like deeply disappointing for Jessie to be like, it's all happening again. Like I'm going to lose her. But with it being Bonnie and me having a girl and you having a girl, and just for me, like seeing like my daughter has tons of dolls and Squishmallows. I don't know if you know what those are. You know, they're really big right now. And she plays with them all the time. She plays with her Barbies and stuff like that. And I guarantee you when I see it too, she'll be really excited about Jessie being the main character. So it was fun and made sense to me with Bonnie now being not that all girls are, you know, into girl dolls or whatever, but there's some sort of commonality about that. And so it really, really worked for me.
Yeah.
For her to be.
Yeah. One of the things that I think, you know, we've talked about an interpretation, which I don't necessarily think the filmmakers are going for this, about toys being, and their relationship with the child being like some semblance of metaphor or allegory with like people and God or whatever. Mm-hmm. One of the things that I do think that that the writers are thinking about throughout is these toys being kind of like as parents to the child, mm-hmm. because they have they have that like protective, like, oh, they're in their minds, in Woody's, they're caring for the child.
They need me.
And they're like being played with. So it's interesting. And in that metaphor, I really haven't thought about that as much until this movie. And it felt like it was like, oh, I feel like Woody is like his child was Andy. Mm-hmm. And then it's like almost like it's almost like Bonnie is his grandchild. Mm-hmm. And then like and then in Toy Story 4, it was like almost like what a parent goes through at various phases, mm-hmm. of letting go of their children. Mm-hmm. Like you know, it's like there's when your child becomes a teenager and you have to let go of certain things, and when your child goes to college and you have to, and that specifically is happening in mm-hmm. the Toy Story movies. Mm-hmm. And then Toy Story 4 feels like what it's like to be an empty nester for mm-hmm. Woody, and like, how do I find my purpose, and you know, whatever. And then we see Woody kind of stepping, like, oh, he's fully found his purpose. Look, he's helping all these other toys. He's helping people. And I think of my parents who they worked so hard their whole lives, both my mom and dad, and they struggled with that. Like my dad went back to work for a couple years at a different company after they sold their business. And it was just a really tough transition. And then now they're finding all this purpose in like helping their neighbors or their parents, or and then a huge part of it is helping me and my child. Mm-hmm. Like my parents watched my daughter all weekend this mm-hmm. weekend, and it was tough for them, mm-hmm. you know, but it's like they were able to step in. And Woody is like, oh, I'm going to step in, and he has this love for Bonnie, but that's a different type of love than Jessie has. Like mm-hmm. Bonnie's not hers, but he's like, he has this ownership. And I don't know, that whole lens it's something that I haven't really thought about a ton. And I just felt like this movie, like if you think about it through that lens, it's really cool. And there's all sorts of different allegory you can pull and messages you can pull in that way.
What did you think about the Buzz Lightyear?
A bunch of the clones?
A bunch of them.
Yeah, it kind of felt like I was fine with it. It was exactly what I think that they were doing, which is like, this is a fun concept and it's funny. And Buzz, the whole concept of Buzz thinking he's not a toy, it's mm-hmm. like the very first inciting incident of the entire franchise is, oh, this toy doesn't think he's a toy. And it's hilarious. It's a great mm-hmm. concept. And it did feel like they were like, well, let's just shoehorn that in here in a way that's like a little bit of a stretch, mm-hmm. you know? And I get why they did it. It's mm-hmm. hilarious. But it was kind of like, okay, this is a lot of, I don't know, an entire legion of Buzz Lightyears is stranded on an island and they're getting a phone. I don't know. It's fine. I didn't.
It provided a lot of humor, I thought, like going back to it, but it did make things kind of feel a little disjointed. Yeah. It was like, what does this have to do with everything? And then it joined the story at the end, but I feel like a lot of times great writing has like, oh, this is why that mattered, or this was connected at the beginning and I didn't realize it. Instead, it was like, it was almost like we need help.
Yeah.
What if a bunch of Buzz's help? What's their journey to get there?
Yeah, what's their journey to get there?
And I don't know that that's how they wrote it. I'm just saying it had that feeling of like, this is just like, you need them later. So it could have been anything that brought them there. And we're just like, okay, let's do the island. And then it was just tons of jokes that were really funny and worked really well. And they answered, like, there's always been the, like, plot hole, I guess, that people talk about with the first one of like, Buzz doesn't think he's a toy, but every time humans come around, he stops moving.
Yeah.
And so this one was funny because they all did that. And then they were like, what just happened?
Oh, yeah.
And they were like, avoid all humans.
I must have been in the bathroom for that one.
Oh, really? Yeah. They were like, they pointed out, like, why did we all just freeze? One of them goes, we all just froze.
Yeah. That's funny.
Which I thought was a clever way to be like, oh, there's like a mystic element to it. Like, almost like the universe won't let humans see toys. Like they sneak perfectly every time and no one ever sees them. Yeah. So another thing that I thought, well, let me ask you this. What were some of the parts that did kind of hit you emotionally in whatever degree that happened?
Yeah. I mean, it was unbelievably painful seeing her friends like make fun of her.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just terrible. And then also just seeing her like try to make friends with the girls. I mean, I just relate so much with the parent. I mean, it's just, I don't know, for parents of children, this is a universal feeling of like, I'm so like, you can't do anything. You're absolutely helpless. And, you know, to have your child be accepted by like other children, and you're just like sitting there watching and hoping so badly that they like connect and that your child's like accepted. And then whether they feel like when Bonnie felt rejected by the twins, and they were kind of like rude, but it's like, I don't know, you know, that feeling where it's like, oh no, the other kids just like ran off, but then your child felt like they abandoned. I just relate so much, and it's so painful. So it's hard to watch that. And then also the chat message. That was hard
when
to watch.
She's like, why doesn't anyone want to be my friend? I was like, I like want to leave. I'm too sad.
Yeah, my stomach hurts right now. Yeah, terrible. It is interesting because it's not a common feeling that you watch in the theaters. But it's like, oh, I know that feeling so well.
Yep.
And it's only going to get worse.
Or like like these kids made fun of me like together. Like I've had to, you know, my kids have experienced that. Like,
oh, that's awful. My gosh. Yeah, and also like, you know, you want your child to like be like, how do I teach my child to, you know, be accepting and welcoming and all this type of stuff? And you know, I've seen the opposite too, where it's like, oh, my child just like got distracted by chocolate or something like that, and then but that kid wanted to play with her. It's like, oh no, don't like, do that. But yeah, and then the Jessie thing with that was so creative. When Jessie found out that Emily, her owner, named her daughter after her. And like how it's like, oh, I meant so much to her. It's like, I'm getting chills right now.
Me too. It's my whole body.
It's so. It was just a great moment, but it was like really, really creative. Like for them to think, maybe it's obvious. I don't know. It just felt like, wow, that was incredible.
Well, I loved it so much because, as you know, with all the movies except for 4, I feel a strong allegory to what it is like to trust in the love of God for you, or a creator, whatever, for you, and how that can be really hard, especially when you're going through incredibly difficult times and things don't seem to make sense.
Abandoned.
And in Toy Story 3, they think that all the other toys think that Andy cast him in the attic, and Woody's like, no, he cares about us. And then he's justified in that, and Andy does care, and he gives them to Bonnie, who loves them. And this was like that moment with Jessie was like, I got that feeling again of like, she always cares. You know, it's not a perfect allegory by any means. And in this one, I really felt like this movie feels like it's about toys, and they're they're kids, and any allegory is a bit of a stretch.
Yeah.
I didn't always feel that in the last ones, but this one I really felt that. But for that brief moment when she's on the hill and she sees like she cared about me so much, she named her child after me, almost like I'm living on and being loved by her in her child.
Yeah.
I got a lot of that feeling. Like, something is really powerful to me about the whole. It's in all of the movies. Except for maybe 4, which is like, does my kid care about me? And like, what does it feel like to be abandoned by your kid? Even from the very beginning, it's the first thing. Buzz shows up and Woody's like, I'm being abandoned. He falls down into the bed, just like Jessie does in the other movies. So that was cool. It didn't feel central to this movie at all, but I really liked that because when I was watching Toy Story 2 recently, I had this feeling of like, I love the allegory of that. But in Toy Story 2, you don't feel that with Jessie. All you feel is like, I guess it reminds you like, kids do abandon their toys.
Yeah, so that like came around.
Yeah, but this was like, that's so cool to me. Again, not the main purpose of the movie. Yes. What I felt like in this movie, between toys and their owners, that was so cool and so impressive to me was how special they made playing with your toys feel.
I
the
totally
connection
agree.
Between like. They feel so loved by their owner. It's like they're living out their purpose. It's like when we live out our purpose. Like, what else could I do? And then like the other tech toys are like, what was that? Is that play? And Jessie's like, yeah, that's real play.
Yeah.
And then the same thing on Bonnie's side, on the child's side, is this play? Is this play with other friends? No, playing with your friends is being together with them and having fun and laughing and being imaginative and like, what a powerful moment. And it contrasts, it almost compares being, I'm making a stretch here maybe, and I'm coming up with this as I speak, but it almost compares giving up imaginative, physical, intentional play for the sake of being stuck in a screen world to a toys experience of not being played with and being stuck in a box. It's like, it's like your purpose is just
it's not
void
being fulfilled
and you're trapped there with nothing to do.
No, totally. And so to further that, first of all, I totally agree. And the way that they've talked about play with toys in all the Toy Stories, and for the toy, it's like, I want to be played with by the child. But they only showed it in like, they showed it in unique ways. And it's like, they're, Andy's like going in circles. But yeah, the way that they changed the animation style and they just really got into like, it was almost like they were teaching children how to play who don't know how to play. Whereas like in the other Toy Stories, it's like, well, duh, kids know how to play. And so we'll show the kid playing and everyone will get it. But this one was like, it's almost like, no, we need to like, show them how fun it could be. So get into the imagination world. And they did a great job.
They like exalted that entire part of life.
Yes. And what it reminded me of, which got me on this whole train of thought, which is kind of a fun train of thought. But what it reminded me of, so they just put Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood on YouTube, like almost all of them. Yeah. And which I've been loving because I would go on PBS and there was like 5 episodes of Mr. Rogers only that you could watch. And I love Mr. Rogers because I think the messages are incredible. It's like boring in the best of ways.
Yeah, it's learning about stuff that's like not that fun to learn about, but somewhat interesting.
Yeah. And it's like, I'm so happy when my daughter like walks away from the TV because it's boring. It's like, that's good. TV should be boring. It was more boring when I was a kid, and you should kind of be like, I want to play outside or whatever. But it's like, if you're asking for screen time, it's like, we watch Mr. Rogers.
You have to engage mentally.
You have to engage to enjoy it.
Yes. To enjoy it.
But what he goes into is, so Mr. Rogers walks in.
Hey guys, again, if you could take a second and subscribe, we'd really appreciate it. Thanks so much.
And he's always got like something in his hands that he's like, it's interesting. And it's got like a mini dump truck or like 3 sticks that he turns into like a chair. And it's just kind of like, it's just quiet. And then he goes, how about we do some make-believe? And then he like walks over to the trolley and then they go into make-believe land. And it's so clear, and he has multiple episodes about it, that he values make-believe. And like, that's not something that I would have thought. I mean, he was teaching it back when there was no phones or anything like that. But like, it's clearly like, all right, this guy who's so intentional about mental health for children and how it's like, he thinks it's really valuable to like make believe and teach kids how to like pretend and imagine and all that type of stuff. And what it, me and Holly watching that this weekend, watching Mr. Rogers, and then I also watching Toy Story 5, which talks about make believe and play and everything. It made me it reminded me of something that feels like important for all humans, which is, it's kind of like what we're doing in a sense of how important it is to do something, to create and do, even if it's not ever going to do anything. So it's like I feel like adults need to do things like we're making a podcast that who knows if it'll do anything, but it's like, just do it. It's good to do and not just be entertained by like my phone or a TV. Like go play on the local bowling league and pretend you're pretending that it's important, but or like go run a 5K and you're pretending it's important in the sense that you're getting exercise, but it's not important that you win the local 5K.
Yeah.
But you're in a sense like you're make believing that it's important, and it's good to like be like, oh, I'm working toward this thing. And there's just like, I don't know, do a local garage band with your old friends and pretend that you're rock stars in a certain, you're not actually actively pretending it, but it's good to do things and not just be entertained. And it's like an important quality for us humans, because you can't just, if you put your phone down and then don't do anything, if you don't garden outside, if you don't do things, even if they're not going to change the world, they're just kind of things that you're doing, like you're going to be bored out of your mind. You have to do things. And you, obviously there's the doing, the real doing, like there's like work and family and all these things that are like, oh, that's actively important, but there's tons of things, hobbies and tinkering and things that it's like, it's never going to amount to anything, but it's good to do. It's good to like, they're just parts of life. And, I don't know, I was just thinking a lot about that, and that it's like a really valuable thing for mental health, for adults, for kids, for whatever. And, I just felt like Toy Story 5 was leaning hard into that, for kids, not for adults, and that, So.
It really made me want to play, like to some imagination, like
HeroClix or like...
Well, sure. Well, yeah, I play like nerdy, complex board games.
Yeah.
And that is imagining.
Yeah.
You're being like, oh, Legolas shot,
Yeah.
the cave troll across the board. But specifically with Selah, since this was like a little girl and a lot more playing with like actual dolls and toys, it's like, tonight I'm probably just going to sit down with Selah and like do a little wedding like they did in the thing.
Yeah.
And she has said recently, she's like, I want like a boy Barbie. Like I want a Ken doll and stuff. Like, okay, let's get it. So yeah, I thought that was cool. And thinking about parents doing the imagination with their kids, I thought, and as I talk about this and kind of bring this up, just, I don't want it to seem like I have any judgment for how people utilize technology or what, and I have opinions, but like I also really get the different ways that people use technology. There are times where it's like, I'm so tired right now, or like I don't have time for this. They really like to do this, and you can be intentional about what they're on and stuff like that. So I don't say this with judgment. I only say it as whatever. But looking at her parents, I was fascinated because they were so good. They were such like caring parents, and they did a lot of like verbal affirmation in ways that seemed really good. Almost like the writers were like, I want to show that they really care for their daughter. And I think they do, if the writer says they do, they do, but it seemed as though they did in the film. And it was such a contrast to me to their inability to understand or to have an intentional way to have their child interact with technology. The only intentionality was them going, I think she's old enough. And then it was basically like, this thing lives in your room. and you almost never saw them be like, all right, screen time's up. Like Buzz had to do the setting of like, bring screen time down. It doesn't go below an hour. And I think that's cool. I was actually glad they did that, because I think it sort of pointed out, maybe for parents and for myself who give kids screen time and maybe way too much screen time, of like, look kind of what's going on. Like, look what's going on in kids' heads and their brain and the people that they're talking to. Like, when you leave it just open, all these sort of like negative things can happen alongside the being sucked out of the real world and into a world where like nothing else matters. Like, she told her dad, like, yeah, throw my toys away. Like, you're like just gone from the world. It's like that you're in a box idea. But I was interested in the parents' contrast to how much they clearly cared and verbally supported their daughter, but they seemed very ill-equipped for how to deal with technology. Which is so fascinating, because that kind of technology has been around for a long time. So this film almost feels outdated, but the message is still like very presently needed. And we have more data now in understanding the effects of screen time and how negative too much screen time is. So it made sense that they make it now. But I don't know. What are your thoughts? I know I didn't make a lot of strong points there, but what did you think of that whole aspect of it? Because it was central to the movie as far as like messages for families to think about and parents to think about.
I don't know if it was it. I don't know if what you're saying was so central. It did feel like it was like it did feel like it was there.
What I mean is, it was the idea of technology and how much and in what way should a child be interacting with technology felt central to like,
oh, for sure,
all the plot points. It was kind of moving stuff around. I didn't mean the parent aspect.
But the parents, to your point, they did interact with technology in a similar way to, I'm sure, our parents probably did, when technology was just kind of like, this is another thing that my child's being entertained by. There's toys. There's a TV that they shouldn't get. Don't get too close to the
screen.
The TV.
It can hurt your eyes.
Yeah, you hurt your eyes. And then games. In the middle of our childhood is when technology started transforming to this thing where it's like, this requires a really nuanced approach that our parents had no resources to. I mean, maybe there were some people writing about it that they could have read. I sit there and go like, man, I really wish I wouldn't have, gotten so much something or other screen time or whatever, but it's like, I can't, there was no resources.
There wasn't children's movies coming out at that time going, don't play too many video games.
Nothing like that.
At least not that I can think of.
Yeah. And, I fast forward to nowadays, and it's like, it's like technology requires, parenting well requires, in the modern day, conversations like what we're having, conversations that we have in like our small group, or, books that you read, or articles that you read. It's like, how do I deal? Because it's not just technology at present, it's the constant new technologies. It's like, okay, now how do I deal with AI? Should I introduce and play alongside my daughter? I'm using AI. Am I using it well? What's good for my brain? What's good for her brain? What's, there's just so many questions and so many things to think about. And in this movie, it's very clear that the standard, should we get her the device or not? Yes, we'll get it for her, and then just let it go. We watched Bonnie just become a slug, and essentially, and lose her imagination in a certain sense, and lose herself, so I don't know. It doesn't really. I think it does speak to that a little bit. You kind of have to read in between the lines. The movie at the end, it uplifted certain types of technology that were positive. There's like the map toy and the helping potty training toy, and the picture, the camera toy, and it's like, so there's different types of tech that it like was like, oh, this is good, and then certain types of tech that were just like, oh, unfiltered. Messaging with your friends and playing video games right when she wakes up with her friends, it's clearly not good. So it didn't speak to technology and the positive use of it as much, or positive or negative use of technology as much as I thought it was going to lean into. It mostly just like uplifted things like make-believe and real physical friendships. It did that more than downing technology. It did down technology a little bit.
There's a strong emphasis on the friendships that you make in person versus...
Yes. Yeah. That ended up becoming more of the message of the film, which I think is probably a positive thing. I'm very like an anti-tech type of person. So it wasn't enough for me, but obviously technology is something that literally everyone uses. And so if it would have gone that route, a lot of people would be like, what? It's no big deal. I think it chose the right message to lean into, which is pro real relationships, physical relationships, imagination, play, all that type of stuff.
Yep.
And then the secondary message, which I just felt like was really clear in this, is the toys were the parents in a certain sense, and how to parent and how to have that nuanced view of technology, which they ended up embracing the lily pad in a way that was, I guess, useful. It's a little bit unclear for me.
Yeah, they didn't have any kind of conclusive, this is how you should, which I'm fine with.
Like how to engage in technology.
Yeah, or the parents didn't have some realization about how the technology was affecting her.
Yeah.
They only saw like, when the mom saw the communication that Bonnie's friends had with her, she made a statement about the friends. She didn't talk about the technology at all. I don't know if you remember that or if you were not in there for that moment because of bathroom break. But Bonnie, she was like, it's okay, Bonnie. You're not going to get in trouble. You can show me. Do you remember that when they were in the car? Yeah. And she shows her, and she doesn't say, this tech, is not that she should have. I'm just saying she doesn't say this tech, these people might not even be saying how they feel. There's no like talking about how people communicate over technology. What she talks about is like, are those real friends? Like, I forget. Maybe I'm wrong. I hope. Well,
she disabled the chat.
She did disable the. Okay, yes. So she kind of realized, okay, the chat, just letting my child just open-ended chat with people, which is actually dangerous. It's not just because how your friends will treat you, but especially if you have freedom to online or whatever. But the point is that it leaned into that. What's a good friend? What's not a good friend? Versus how should I use technology? Versus not how I should not use tech.
Yeah.
What did I say? How should I use it versus how I should not use it?
Yeah.
Which again, I was fine with.
Yeah.
It would have been a little bit hitting over the head if it was. I had this thought while I was watching it. We talk a lot about like strong message films, like faith-based films, political films, where it's like, I'm just hitting you over the head with this message. We all know why we're here, and I am telling you how it is. This was totally like, there's a message here, but you're feeling a message more than you're being told. You're feeling, I need to think about technology. Yeah. Technology's not all good. Look at all these kids in their house just sitting on their phone and not playing together. Like, they don't come up with those conclusions at the end of the movie where they say, this is how much screen time you should get. Or there's not like a post-credit scene where the parents are like, here's the new rules. Yeah. It's like, well, as a parent, you are going to have to set rules and standards, but that's kind of up to you when you look at these things and recognize them. It's almost like the message is just like, don't go into tech, iPads, video games, whatever, without thought. Because there are very negative aspects that if you don't have intentionality can affect your child. Yeah. And so I think that's really cool that they were not beating us over the head with the message. Yeah. As much as I might have agreed with or liked their message if they went hardcore into the dangers. Sure. Or something like that. Yeah. No, I totally agree. I think that one of the things about this, I've spoken to this a little bit, but the other Toy Story movies don't have this aspect. Like, Toy Story is kind of like the ultimate coming of age movie in a certain sense. The child in the background is coming of age, but the toys, I don't know if it's coming of age in that almost every movie they're dealing with a transitional phase of life,
that can allegorically be placed, you can see yourself in. And like I've talked about, it's like is it Toy Story 3 or Toy Story 4 is very much like it's a coming of age for Andy to be like, okay, my child is moving on, and then how can I find purpose in a transitional time of life and whatever. This movie, it's like coming of age for Bonnie, but then it's also coming of age. I'm thinking of Jessie and Buzz and all the toys as if they're parents, and no other movie has it where they're so actively trying to get the child to make friends. That's like a totally new motive for the toys. Mm-hmm. Like we've had it where the toys are like, oh, I'm trying to get the child to play with me because I think I view playing with me as a positive thing. But this one was fully about the toys having this like, I'm responsible to try to get the toys to make friends. Like from the very get-go, Jessie's like, she sees the twins across the street and she's like, Bonnie's really afraid to make friends. I'm going to go, find a way to make it happen. And I just found that to be, I don't know. I just loved that aspect. I felt like it was a really good, it's like, oh, this is a really good part of coming of age for a child, not just, playing with toys, but learning how to make friends. And, it was a Toy Story 3 where she was like going to preschool. That was like that was a part of it.
Toy Story 4, she was going to preschool.
Oh, okay.
And then they leave and go to the carnival. Because remember, she makes Sporky.
Oh, yeah.
And then she takes him on the road trip.
Yeah. Anyway, the whole idea that I just loved is how can toys and Bonnie's parents specifically were also having that same thing of like, how can I help my child to make friends? This technology is actually in the way of making friends I don't know. I guess we're kind of dancing around the same idea, but like that specifically being the focus and thinking about my responsibility as a father of being like, oh man, I want my daughter to make friends. How can I do that? How can I set up play dates and with friends that are going to be like a, positive influencer on her? I don't know. It's just an interesting thing that I really liked about this movie. And as we're talking about it, I'm liking it more and more. Yeah. It's like the opposite of the He-Man conversation.
Yeah, unfortunately, where we went downhill. Sorry about that. Okay. I was interested by this. I'm always interested when someone else takes like a kind of a different message or a different message sticks out to them. So I wanted to hear what you thought about this. And I read it earlier, was this review where they said, or maybe I skipped it. It says Toy Story 5 is an entertaining film that also contains an important message. Never change, always be yourself. And I thought that was really interesting. Did you feel that message at all? I think that they meant with Bonnie and Bonnie being like, I don't play with toys, I just do this. And then at the end, her going back to like being herself, and Jessie being like, this girl's like Bonnie. Like, Bonnie's not like the other kids. She's special. She does this and this and that. And you see Bonnie start to try to change. How did you view, I guess, that part of the film, or how are you viewing it right now? Do you feel like it's a strong, like, be yourself message, or was it saying something else?
No, I think that's fine for somebody to get that out of it, but it feels to me like similar to what I do oftentimes, where I've got like a preloaded thing that's going on in my brain in my own life or whatever, and then I extract that message out of the film, which is totally fine.
It does happen where she, because of the way her friends treat what she wants to do,
she changes.
She throws away something she loves. So there is that feeling there. It's not like absent from the movie or anything. But
I guess what I'm trying to say is not that they imported the message, but that like films are full of all sorts of messages.
Oh, sure.
And that message is in there, but I don't think that was a key, like a pivotal message for the film.
Okay.
I could actually think of other Toy Story movies that felt maybe a little bit more similar.
Okay.
I don't know. What did you think?
I definitely, I felt like there were so many messages in this, and a lot of them landed. And I definitely felt this feeling of every time that Bonnie was like, oh, I don't play with toys, me being like, oh, it's okay. Like, don't change, Bonnie. Like, they don't, these kids are like stupid. Like, not stupid, they're kids. But don't do that. And obviously it was sad for Jessie and Bullseye because of that. But then it did seem like there was a strong feeling at the end of, oh, she found someone who's like her. And now she doesn't have to like change to be like all the other kids. She can still have fun. And it was actually a little bit, I don't want to start downing the movie because it's like once you get too into something, you start just messing up positive messages that if you don't need to think about them this deeply, but I'll do it one step anyway. It was, because it popped into my head while I was watching it, is that it was almost like, well, what if that friend didn't come? What would Bonnie do? You know, it's like it wouldn't have been right for her to be like, well, I guess I can't make any other friends, so I'll just get into all the stuff that they're into. It's like she would have had to learn, like, how do I not just change myself for the sake of other people, for the sake of just fitting in? And how do I keep my love of this thing even when other people aren't still into the same thing? And I don't know the answer to that. You have to meet a lot of friends, and not everybody's in that position. I mean, we go to, we have people in our life, a lot of people in our lives with other kids, and our kids interact with other kids. So you usually find some that have similar interests to you, or if they go to school, usually that's why there's all the different, stereotypical groups in high school, because you find usually people who are like, if you are a really unique person, that usually forms a bond between you and a few other really unique people. But there are situations where people aren't in that sort of place where they have lots of friends to choose from. And then it's like, well, if you want to fit in, you do have to make some changes. Like, otherwise you won't have any friends.
Interesting.
So then it becomes like, how could I lead my friends? Like, how could I do what they do? But I don't know.
That
anyway, like I said, it's complicated.
Yeah, it does seem like obviously there's like, we've talked about this. There's like loyalty versus, when it's time to like move on, and like a relational setting, whether it's a friend or a romantic relationship or whatever. Obviously, it seemed like the dance ballet girls were like bad friends. Yeah. It's the type of thing that if I was a parent, I'd be like, no, don't be friends with people. Don't,
for sure.
It reminds me of like a classic like counseling type of thought, which I don't know. I think there's some truth to this, which is like relational damage requires relational healing. And I think I often I'm like somebody who like leans toward isolating myself, but like it's like, oh, when you've been hurt in a relational way, you need to be healed in a relational way. It could be with that person, but oftentimes it can't be with the person who has hurt you. And you'll have to hopefully find people who can show you compassion or be trustworthy in the way that a former relationship was not trustworthy. So in that regard, I liked the route they went, where it was like, oh, there's this girl who can help show Bonnie that she can be her silly, true self and whatever. And I don't know. I think that there's a lot of people. I'm thinking about this as an adult, like, I mentioned it earlier, but, I think that it's a good message for adults to like play, be silly. Mm-hmm. It's the type of message that I think that's a positive thing for adults. A lot of adults might be like, no, that's you need to, kids can do that. Now you need to be an adult. And I guess I don't really know where I'm going with this. I guess I'm trying to get to where it's like, I do think that there are, you think about like romantic relationships, if you're like giving somebody advice and their like silly hobby was like downed, by the person that they were in a romantic relationship with, you'd probably be like, oh, well, like, you need to be with somebody who like, they don't have to join in with all your dumb things, but if they're like, oh yeah, do your thing, like, do your weird hobby of, puzzles, or I don't know, whatever the hobby the person has is. And I think that's a positive thing in relationships and communities. And so I'm just glad that they went that route with Bonnie, where it's like, oh, we're not just saying that playing with toys is good. We're saying real relationships are good. And I thought that was a fantastic message.
Yeah. Where would you rank this among the other Toy Stories?
Okay, I'm just going to give you my list.
All right. Hit me out.
Toy Story 1.
Okay.
Toy Story 3. Those are close, though.
Okay.
One interval down is Toy Story 2 on its own. And then 4 and 5 are really close, but then it goes 4, 5.
Okay. Nice.
What's yours?
I would go Toy Story 3, Toy Story 2, Toy Story 1, Toy Story 5, Toy Story 4.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
I didn't know you had Toy Story 2 above 1. I mean, they're all so good.
I just saw them both within the last month because we were preparing, and I preferred 2 over 1. I didn't think it was a better movie. I'm saying what I enjoy.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm going like, if I'm trying to judge them on like, what are the best movies, like most impressive movies, I would still go 3, and then I would go 1, and then I might go, no, then I'd go 2, 5. I'd do the same thing actually. I do the same thing. I actually think they're equally impressive as much as, oh, no, I switched. Yeah, I would make Toy Story 1 over Toy Story 2 because I think it's better, but I like 2 more.
So yeah, 2, you go 3, 2, 1, 5, 4.
Dude, as we've talked about this, I've been like, man, I think I did like this even more than I thought. So it might even have jumped above 1 or 2 for me. I mean, it was really cool.
Yeah, I just need to watch it again.
Those moments when they were playing, when what was the horse, the girl with the horse's name? Do you remember?
Blaze.
When Blaze started playing with the toys and the tech was experiencing it for the first time,
that was fun.
I was so absorbed into that entire scene. That was one of my favorite moments across the entire 5 movies. I was really, really impressed and like, whoa, that like gave me unique feels. It wasn't like it wasn't like Bonnie crying and saying like, why is no one my friend? It's like that hit me, but this was like a special type of way to hit me. It's like, oh my gosh, that made me think about a lot of things all at one time.
Yeah.
Like so stimulating.
Yeah. I liked those characters.
Experience. Yeah, me too. All the like the poop jokes and the
so funny.
Yeah, they said something about farting, and he's like, "We call that 1.5." It was hilarious.
Yeah, that was good.
And everything with the toilet paper rolls and
yeah. I did feel like this. Okay, like this is getting into interesting territory, but you know, we talk a lot about like what a perfect film is, and then both of us feel like Toy Story 1 is like a really good example of that. Just and we haven't had our like discussion about that. It's like a nuanced discussion, but it's like there's just not waste. Everything like kind of it's like a web where every scene kind of affects every other scene, and every character and every line of dialogue is really potent with like meaning
and necessary
to the movie, and it's clean and it's like it doesn't have to be short, but it's like oftentimes it's short and clean, and the longer it is, it's just the longer the movie is, the harder it is to make sure that every scene is so like potent and needed. And so Toy Story 1 is like such a great example of that, but I do feel like the rest of the Toy Story 2 and 3 are like closer to, they're just I don't know, they're just like, man, this film, this story is so tight, and it's just like the characters, everything's, there's so much excellence in it. Toy Story 4 has a little bit of a drop off in terms of just like the perfect film quality that I'm talking about, the excellence of narrative and pacing and, you know, all that type of stuff, character development. Toy Story 4 has a little bit of drop off, but then this one felt like it was a significant drop off. I liked it like in the type of thing I'm talking about, as far as like excellence in story. Like, for example, all the buzzes, that just felt like it was like, this was fine and it was funny. And, you know, and this movie made up for it in so many different ways, like the messages and the unique way, everything we've been talking about, where they're like, we're trying to get our toy to, or our child to like have relationships, and what it's saying about screens, all of that's so unique. So it just worked in so many ways. But as far as like the excellence of the quality of the filmmaking, it just felt like it wasn't there with the rest of the Toy Story franchise, if that makes sense.
I see what you mean. Totally. It's a very unique thing to even be placing it. I feel like a lot of people who are watching will be, it's hard to even say what we're talking about, but yeah, it's that element. I feel like no wasted moment is like a huge part of perfect perfect film.
Yeah.
Whereas there's moments in this that are like, that wasn't really needed.
Yeah, no wasted moment, no wasted characters. So, for example, like, what was the conclusion with all the buzzes?
Sure. Or Toy Story 4 has a lot of that, where there's some new characters that are like, what was your purpose?
Yeah,
like, you had comedic relief, but
Yeah.
you didn't even, like, you're not even in Toy Story 5 now. You just were.
There's subplot threads that don't get tied up cleanly. I felt like there was quite a few of those. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
a lot of that in this.
Yeah. It just didn't affect it too much for me. To be honest, I would at least give it 4.5 stars, if not 5 stars. I mean, it was incredibly impressive to me.
Yeah, me too.
So, and then where would you rank it in? I know you're not going to rank all the Pixar movies right now, but what other movies would you kind of rank it around?
Oh, yeah, it's definitely in the upper echelon of Pixar movies. I don't know.
Would you rank it above Monsters, Inc.?
Like, then we're getting into like my personal favorite or like the greatest. No, my personal favorite. No, Monsters Inc. is so high. Yeah, just below that.
Yeah.
I'd have to pull. I could pull up my Pixar rankings that we did.
Yeah, it's hard. I would put it in the realm of, for me, like Robbie's favorite Pixar is Finding Nemo. So like, obviously everybody differs vastly. For me, I'd have it around Finding Nemo. Of like, this really gave me the feels. It's like a special movie, but it doesn't quite ascend into the Coco, Toy Story 3, a few, the Monsters Inc., a few of the other ones that I love. But, you know, so many people will hate that because Finding Nemo is incredible. Many people's favorite Pixar. But for me, it's down. If there's 30 Pixar, I forget how many there are. If there was 30, I think there's like 22 or something like that. It'd be above the middle, for sure.
Yeah, it's like in the top 10 for me. Top like 10, like 6 through 10 or something. Okay. I've got my top 5. It's like Toy Story, Coco, Toy Story 3, Monsters, Up.
Yes.
I would put it.
I would certainly put it above Up, but
yeah. I'd put it in the next like 5 or 6 movies for sure. So B+ of Pixar.
Of Pixar, yeah.
But yeah, it's just hard. I really am excited to see this movie again. I might see it in theaters again. Just because my daughter went to the bathroom a lot, which I was like, okay, let's go. Dang it.
Yeah. Well, that was going to be my next question of, do you think you'll watch it again? So yes, you think you might watch it this week?
I mean, if there's no other movie, we will probably go see a different movie.
I just mean ever again.
Oh, I will definitely see it again. Oh, 100%. Yeah. And it was so fun to see with my daughter. It was just a blast Father's Day thing to do. And she liked it.
Yeah.
She said it was her favorite Toy Story.
I saw a lot of dads there with their kids. It's Father's Day.
Yeah, smart thing to do for Father's Day, because Toy Story, Toy Story is one of those where it's like, you know, there's the other movies that come out and your kids are like wanting to see it. But Toy Story is like, this is crazy. It's been around since, 94 or 95?
95, the first one.
So 95, that's 30 years. Yeah, what franchises have been around and are still actively putting them out? So Alien, but then all the Alien movies are different. Yeah, it's like
MCU, not even MCU. That started in 2008.
Well, but the Star Wars and MCU are universes.
Sure.
Whereas Toy Story it's about Woody and Buzz.
Same characters.
And these characters.
It's unique.
Yeah. Alien is about different characters each time.
Yep.
It's like James Bond, but then, I don't know.
Well, yeah. All right, cool. Well, all right, let's switch gears here completely. So, our final conclusion on Toy Story 5 is fantastic movie. It's right in there with the other ones. It's probably on the bottom of the 5 for you. For me, it's probably the 4 out of 5. I'd put it around the second one. I might even like it more than the second one. But anyway, totally flip side of the filmmaking world. We also saw yesterday.
Oh yeah,
They Will Kill You.
Yeah.
Which is, I believe, newly on Netflix. It came out a few months ago. We didn't see it in theaters. I wanted to see it because I really like Ready or Not, and Ready or Not 2. I think they're really, really fun.
Is it the same filmmaker?
I don't think so. I'm just saying, even from the trailer, right from the start, it was like, okay, this is dealing with like you said, the occult, and like a violent, gory taking them down.
Yep.
And so I wanted to see it, and we watched it. It was a really fun contrast to seeing Toy Story 5 in the same day.
I'm curious if you can guess the Rotten Tomato scores for that, if you didn't already.
For They Will Kill You? Mm-hmm.
I just looked at them, and
I'd go 83 critics, 75 audience.
64 critics,
Okay.
77 audience.
Okay.
So close.
So lower critics than I expected. Part of it, I wonder if it's because it's been done a few times in recent years, and it felt like just kind of like another one of the same kind of deal.
Yeah. Let me read. This is just fun to do.
Okay.
I'm not going to read the full review. I'm just going to read the first line. This person says, "It's fresh. For me, it's John Wick by way of Looney Tunes." Interesting. I did feel like it was John Wickian with the place, the sense of place.
Okay, yeah.
And,
yeah, you brought that up.
And they had the megaphone, I don't know, they had certain rules and everything.
Yep.
This is just a bat crap crazy movie, and I deeply love it. The tonal issues don't subside. What should be funny is just stupid. What could be scary is annoying. That was interesting that it says it's a horror, and it had the full horror element up front. Then I was like terrified.
Yeah.
Like I was like, oh no, I'm not going to sleep tonight. And then it just became like, it just like turned into Hot Fuzz.
Yep.
Like almost immediately in a hilarious way.
Yeah.
Yeah. It felt like a huge blend of a ton of different movies. What were the movies we said? It was like,
well, we brought up Hot Fuzz because they're like for the greater good.
Yeah, Hot Fuzz.
In general.
The
Ready or Not,
Ready
1
or
and
Not.
2.
John Wick,
Kill
Bill. Just, I don't know. It felt like,
well, it definitely riffed on Kill Bill's
because of the sprinkler blood.
Uh-huh.
I haven't seen any movie that's ever done that exact type of gore.
Yeah. There were other movies that I'm not thinking of. Did you ever see Altered Carbon?
No.
Okay, there were some elements of it that like brought to mind a few people. Yeah, it's not super similar, but there were some elements that were.
I do agree with
reminded me
that.
of it.
I do agree with that person. I think the tone was like all over the place.
Mhm.
Like with the very beginning with her sister and the dad, it was like, oh my gosh, this is going to be pretty serious.
Mm-hmm.
And then it would just kind of switch to like, that wasn't really serious. It's funny. She like hits her sister. In the middle of them, like when they like reunite.
And then yeah, I mean that was way later in the movie.
Yeah, but I'm saying the plot point
it was,
of
yeah.
like, oh, this is really important that the sister relationship and how we escaped from dad or whatever. It's like, oh, this is really important. It felt like up front, and then it like they're resolving it later, and then she just like hits her, and it had a lot of those like deadpan moments that I thought were funny.
Yeah.
Like, one of the villains like throws a sword to the other guy, and you're like, think it's really serious, and then he like whiffs, and like,
Yeah.
so it was fun. It was fun to watch with a couple of like our friends, and just kind of like not have expectations.
Yeah. I definitely thought up until I don't know, at some point, maybe when they were going to kill her and like everybody else came in the room and they kind of made a few jokes, it was like, I already knew because I'd seen the trailer what kind of movie it was going to turn into. But if I hadn't, I would have been like, this is just a straight horror film. Like,
Yeah.
it was just like,
Oh,
this is just a
definitely.
horror film. What is that about? Where is she?
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden it was like, oh, no, this is just an uber violent. She's there to like take people down, and we are going to see a lot of fighting. Like that's what this is about to turn into. Which, like I said, the trailer already revealed that. But I still thought it was fun.
Yeah.
I thought one of the big issue, because of the tone of it being so not serious, one of the big issues for me, doesn't matter that much. It's kind of why they have freedom to do this. But it was that we talked about this, but the world and the rules of that world and the rules of the supernatural, they were really unclear. And you had to be like, okay, so if you write your name on the pig's head, then you are still a zombie. If you cut the skin off the pig and keep the skin, then that works. If you write down and change the name on the skin, that works. And you can also burn the pig's head, and then like, I don't know. It was just like, all right, this is just the ultimate, just accept this.
Yeah.
But it's difficult because they did try to explain it. And when you try to explain it too, it makes it kind of like, am I supposed to care?
Yeah.
Or should I just...
Yeah. A different thought that's little bit of a left turn is just the fighting was really cool. But I don't find it as enjoyable. Like I want like a John Wick where it's like you're the master.
Yes, you wish that like almost like she had been trained by a master in prison rather than just like I've learned how to brawl.
Yeah, it's just not. I mean, there's plenty of movies like that where it's like, okay, they're a good fighter and then they're fighting and escaping other people, but it's like there was no semblance to me of like, oh, she's gonna make it out of here because of her skill set. It was like, oh yeah, she's got a lot of willpower, but yeah, just that. But every single fight she got into, I was like, oh, I hope that she gets lucky, and she keeps getting lucky. Yep. And that's just not as enjoyable for me watching that. It was enjoyable, but it's not when I'm looking for like, oh, really cool fighting movie and cool action. I'm looking for something different usually. So didn't really play into that for me.
Yeah. Do you feel like it's a movie you'll ever watch again?
No.
Yeah. No. I feel the same way. Interestingly though, and you probably don't feel this, or I don't even know if you've seen it, but with Ready or Not, I would watch that.
Yeah, I haven't seen it.
Every year. It's really funny to me.
And the second one?
Maybe. Not every year. It's not as good as the first one, but it's definitely still pretty good. I just love the concept. I love the main actress. Its funny moments are funnier. It's this kind of a simpler concept too, and the rules of that world do seem to make sense. Especially in the first one. The second one has a similar, where the whole like cult gathers at the end and they're doing this whole ceremony about her joining the family. It's very, very similar. Yeah. Like the ending is very similar. And it gets a little muddled too, of like, wait, now she's in charge. She puts the ring on her finger. Yeah. She throws the ring. They all try. There's a lot of those like, this element or this object is important for this reason. It's kind of really unclear. That's how this one felt to me. Whereas the first Ready or Not is just like, I get it. Super basic. You don't kill her by the morning. You explode. We're not sure if that's true or not. We don't find out until the morning, and then we find out. And then it's hilarious. And we're done.
Yeah, I really want to see that. There were several different gags in this movie that really worked for me. One is just them, how they got like sliced and diced, and then like the eyeball gag. That was hilarious.
That was really funny.
And then
when
and her headless
Spider-Man like shoots up the
and her headless body, she like grows like the mini head.
That was too much for me, but yes,
it was funny. It was kind of like the Deadpool thing where he's like regenerating but slowly, and that was funny.
Yeah, it was.
It worked.
It was really gory. Definitely don't recommend that movie.
I do feel
anyone who's not like, I know exactly what this is and I'm okay watching this.
Yeah. Man, if they would have like leaned in and she was like fully trained John Wick type person, and then they would have leaned into like all action. It's almost like what we wanted to watch yesterday was an action parody. Both me and you wanted to watch Night and Day, the Tom Cruise, Cameron Diaz movie.
Yeah.
If this would have been kind of like that, where it's like she's got trained by like a kung fu master. It was so silly, like full a la Kill Bill type of thing.
Yeah.
And then also if all of the antics were like fully funny, like they leaned in like it was Hot Fuzz, and like they were making fun of like the weird cult practices, and Patricia Arquette was just like a hilarious character, and it was like pure action and pure comedy. I would loved this.
Yeah.
But it just like kept trying to be like, it's a little bit serious, like this part of that part, and it just wasn't as fun to me.
Yeah. It definitely was taking from Tarantino massively.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously the violence we talked about where the head gets chopped off and a fountain of blood comes up. Yeah. Just that's taking from Tarantino. But also it reminds me of like Dusk Till Dawn, which he didn't direct, but he's in, and I believe he wrote, which is just like seems to be normal, and then all of a sudden it's all about vampires.
Yeah. So they also had the Get Out piece, or like it was like a racial, social piece. Everyone who was a maid was black.
That's another one that we didn't say, but Get Out, there's a lot of similarities there, like a cult.
Yeah. And, I haven't even mentioned it yet because I didn't feel like they like. It felt like they were. It was almost like what's the movie with Chris Evans, the Korean film, the train movie, Icebreaker.
No. Oh gosh, I can't.
Where
Snowpiercer.
Where Icebreaker. So close. We can make a generic film. Icebreaker. Where each car represents like a different like social class that you like move up. But it felt like it was kind of it was saying something, but they didn't like lean into it very hard. So they didn't like, bait me into like really thinking about it very much. Kind of like whereas Get Out really does, it like kind of leans more into like, think about this as a societal thing that it's like, I'm challenging you to think about. This was more like, we'll like kind of try to say something. And I mean, I'm sure me and you could talk and think about it and philosophize about what it's saying. And I would like to do that. But the movie itself wasn't like expecting you or pressing you to think that way. I didn't feel, at least. And
like to think about a more social message.
The social message that it was pushing.
Yeah, I actually was surprised. I thought when that started, I thought it was going to happen. A lot of similar setup to Get Out. She meets the husband of the woman, but then it turned out he really was just her husband. There was no seemingly like racial element to that relationship that I remember.
Oh yeah, I don't know. I guess the basic thing that I received, that it was like, it was giving like a class, like a social and a class hierarchy thing, and how it goes along with race, and then there were like certain people of, like there were certain people that were like aiding and hoping that they would climb up the ladder, kind of like Patricia Arquette did. And is she Irish, like naturally?
I don't know.
Or was it a Scottish accent or not? It was a strong Irish or Scottish accent.
I did not even notice she had an accent.
Oh, okay. Well, I thought that they were like trying to kind of like play on that, because they started it in the 1920s. And then like at that time, being Irish was more like a minority or something like that. And then to try to become immortal, you kind of have to like play the game and hope that you are immortal, but you're adding to a societal systemic problem by hoping that you might be the one that becomes immortal, and then most people just die by adding to that system. I don't know. I thought they were trying to say something like that. Point is it didn't work as a message for me. It was a little bit muddy.
It felt like they were more interested in telling a bloody, fun action story.
Yeah. Hats off for putting the message out there, and I want to think more about it and talk more about it. But it didn't work quite as well as some other movies.
I agree. I probably won't see it again. For one, I don't rewatch movies super often, and secondly, there's better movies that are similar, but still really impressive. I mean, it's great. It felt
Draco
like
Malfoy. Did we find out it was him?
I'd be so surprised if it wasn't. But
I'm bad with faces.
No, I'm pretty sure it's him. What's that actor's name?
Is it Tom?
Yeah, Tom Felton. Yep, it is him. Yeah, that was. There were some really funny moments, actually, when they were crawling around in the tunnels that go through. That was just like, this is cool filmmaking. I bet that was really fun to shoot. Like they had to build quite a bit to be able to like make that happen, and then they had the whole like where it pulled out and like the top of the screen was black, the bottom of the screen was black, and you could just see her moving in like the super long tunnel. That was pretty fun.
Yeah.
So,
oh my gosh, some of the gore was hard to watch.
Would you recommend it to people to watch?
Not really. I'd be like, if you want a fun watch with other people.
Yeah, they would have to like specifically ask for that type of movie.
Yeah, they'd have to be like into, it's like, if you're into like really, really gory, cartoonish violence and the occult. I mean, we talked about this a little bit. Like some people, there are certain things that I just like to see on screen. So for example, one of the reasons I like Iron Man is because it gets into like engineering, or I like watching Project Hail Mary because it like gets into the science of things. And that's just like, regardless of story, just purely that type of content. I'm like, I want to watch that, and I want to watch it again and again and again. And some people have that for like the occult, like Satan, cult worship, that type of stuff. I have the opposite of that. I don't like seeing that type of stuff. And it doesn't even feel like it's not like a Christian thing. we have friends that are just like, oh, they just like watching that type of movie. And it's not anything other than like, oh, that's interesting. It's not interesting to me, and not.
It makes me feel like kind of anxious.
Yeah,
I feel unsettled. Like when we went home after watching it, I was like, oof, I don't know. But it didn't make me scared. It was more just like set off a little anxiety.
Do you feel the same way with like something like Cabin in the Woods?
No. This was just like explicitly like, that's the devil.
Yeah.
And it just felt so like dark.
Yeah.
Whereas the other ones, like these are like horror characters, like fantasy horror characters that turned out to be real. And then there's some titan.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, I would say all that type. I would put like the occult into like one big category. Like for example, when Sherlock Holmes, the Robert Downey Jr. one, and it turns out that like it's like all, is it Freemasons or whatever? But it's all very occult in like what the ending
in the first one.
In the first one, and it's just like it's just not. I don't know why it's not fun to me.
Yeah,
like it is to many people.
Hey guys, again, if you could take a second and subscribe, we'd really appreciate it. Thanks so much.